Santosha literally means contentment, satisfaction. It is also an ethical concept in Indian philosophy, particularly yoga, where it is included as one of the Niyamas by Patanjali. Definition: Santosha, sometimes spelled Santosha, is a combination word in Sanskrit derived from Samantosha. Sam means completely, altogether, or entirely, and tosha, contentment, satisfaction, acceptance, being comfortable. Combined, the word Santosha means completely content with or satisfied with, accepting and comfortable. Other words based on the root tasht, such as santosh and tashayati, are synonymous with Santosha, and found in ancient and medieval-era Indian texts. Isaacs translates Santosha as contentment, accepting one's circumstances. Woods describes it as the lack of trsna and desiring that which is necessarily for one's life, while translating verse 2:42 and 2:32 of Yoga Sutras, respectively. Others define it as an attitude of contentment, one of understanding and accepting oneself and one's environment and circumstances as they are, a spiritual state necessarily for optimism and effort to change the future. Bhatta clarifies Santosha as inner contentment, a state of inner peace. Yoga Darshana, which includes commentary of Rishi Vyasa on Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, defines contentment as the inner state where exists a joyful and satisfied mind regardless of one's environment, whether one meets with pleasure or pain, profit or loss, fame or contempt, success or failure, sympathy or hatred. Discussion: Santosha as a niyama is discussed in Indian texts at various levels. Intent, inner state and its expression. As intent, Santosha is doing one's best and accepting the results of one's efforts. As inner state, it is contentment that combines with and works with other virtues such as asteya, aparigraha and daya. As outward expression, Santosha is the observed serenity of being totally satisfied, not desiring anything other than the fundamental. Miracle states that Santosha is rooted in the desire to avoid anything negative to self, to others, to all living beings and to nature. It is not the state of abandonment or being without any needs, rather the state of neither taking too much nor taking less than what one needs, one of contented optimism. It is the habit of being able to accept circumstances one finds self in without being upset, of accepting oneself, and of equanimity with others who are balancing their own needs as they share what they have. Santosha is also abstaining from taking and consuming something to excess, even if its appearance makes it tempting. Miracle states that in cases the environment is one where one is forced to listen to a painful speech or someone's anger, Santosha is the serenity of accepting it completely as an instructive and constructive message, understanding the other, then detaching oneself and patiently seeking reform and change in one's environment. Ankaracharya, of the Vedanta school of Hinduism, in verses 521 to 548 of the text Vivekachudamani, states that Santosha is a necessary virtue because it frees a human being from the compulsions of all bondage, manipulation and fears, whereafter he can dwell according to his will, do what he thinks is right, pursue his own calling wherever, whenever and however he wants. Johnston translates Ankaracharya view on Santosha as the inner state where things neither distress him nor elate him much, nor is he attached to or repelled by them. In his own self he ever joys. The self is his rejoicing, altogether contented by the essence of uninterrupted bliss. With Santosha, he knows his self, the eternal. He is free from bondage. He is delighted no matter what. His life is victory. He moves where fancy leads him. Unconstrained, he sleeps by the river bank or the wood. His couch is the world. He moves in paths where the beaten road has ended. He then is one, delighting in the supreme eternal. Mythology. The Vishnu Purana recites a myth that includes Santosha as a progeny of Tushti and Dharma, and it is loaded with symbolism. The myth is as follows. The progeny of Dharma by the daughters of Daksha were as follows. By Sraddha he had Kama, by Lakshmi was born Darpa, by Driti the progeny was Niyama, by Tushti Santosha, by Pushti the progeny was Lobha, by Meda Sruta, by Kriya the progeny were Dandayana and Vinaya, by Bodhi Bodha, by Lajya Vinaya, by Vapu Vyavizaya. Shanti gave birth to Keshama, Sadita Sukha, and Kirti gave birth to Yasha. These were the sons of Dharma, one of whom, Kama, had baby Harsha by his wife Nandi. The wife of Adama was Hinsa, on whom he begot a son Anrita, and a daughter Nikriti. They intermarried, and had two sons, Balya and Naraka, and twins to them, two daughters, Maya and Vidana, who became the wives. The son of Balya and Maya was the destroyer of living creatures, or Mrityu, and Dukkha was the offspring of Naraka and Vidana. The children of Mrityu were Vyadi, Yara, Soka, Trishna, and Krada. These are all called the inflictors of misery, and are characterized as the progeny of vice. They are all without wives, without posterity, without the faculty to procreate. They perpetually operate as causes of the destruction of this world. On the contrary, Daksha and the other Rishis, the elders of mankind, tend perpetually to influence its renovation, whilst the Manas and the sons, the heroes endowed with mighty power, and treading in the path of truth, as constantly contribute to its preservation. The desire paradox. Scholars have questioned whether contentment is equal to having the desire to be without desire, and if so, is it a paradox in itself? This question is of interest to both Hinduism and Buddhism. Herman states that there is a difference between the mindless pursuit of craving and mindful pursuit of needs. The former is of concern to Indian philosophies, while for latter they acknowledge and encourage the proper pursuit of needs. Craving is an intense, ever-expansive compulsion to hoarding material possessions, an addiction for something or someone, and a state where the person accumulates the target of his greed or lust while ignoring Dharma. Contentment is the opposite state, free from cravings that create bondage and dependence. An understanding of the minimum he needs and alternate ways to meet those needs, thus liberated to do whatever he wants and what feels right, proper, meaningful to him. Proper and simultaneous pursuit of Dharma, Artha and Kama is respected in Hindu texts. For example, in Book 9, the Shalyapava of the epic Mahabharata, the proper and simultaneous pursuit of Artha, Dharma and Kama is recommended. Morality is well practiced by the good. Morality, however, is always afflicted by two things: the desire of profit entertained by those that covet it, and the desire for pleasure cherished by those that are wedded to it. However, without afflicting morality and profit, or morality and pleasure, or pleasure and profit, followeth all three, morality, profit and pleasure, always succeeds in obtaining great happiness. In cases where there is conflict between Artha, Kama and Dharma, Vatsyayana states Artha precedes Kama, while Dharma precedes both Kama and Artha.